Welcome, my Phoenix family! Thriving after amputation is so much more than just being able to walk. And they don't give you a manual on how to be a happy and successful amputee when you leave the hospital. So these are all things that I've kind of had to figure out the hard way. So tip number one for being a happy and successful amputee is going to be to measure those small wins. And some days those small wins might be bigger wins, but get in the habit of measuring your wins. So, not comparing yourself to others, but what are your specific wins and things that you specifically did well during your day? And, get in the habit of tracking those things or writing them down and looking back at it maybe a few months from now or even a year from now, and you'll look back and go, wow, I am in a better place. And it's just something that I think can really help your mental health as well. It doesn't have to be big improvement for you to write it down as this is something that I saw today. Because some days are going to be like that, where you feel like you can't do much, and then other days are going to feel like you're on top of the entire world and you can do anything you set your mind to. And that's the hard part about amputation, is that sometimes you're going to feel really good, and then other times you're not. And you're probably going to struggle to even do the most basic of things. And that's okay. So tip number two is about regaining that glorious and blessed independence. And so you learn to be really grateful for those little things and those little things that you learned how to do by yourself again. And maybe you just learn how to pop something in the oven again from a wheelchair. I mean, for me, that gave me actually a lot of independence. And I didn't realize how much I needed that until I was like, hey, stand right here. And if anything goes wrong, you can grab the food from me, but I want to do this myself. And when I had someone standing there, knowing that I wasn't going to be able to hurt myself, they would stop me if I was going to hurt myself, but having them basically just stand there and say okay, you got to figure out how to do this on your own, because you're not going to always have somebody there that can throw this in the oven for you. And realizing, hey, that's how I'm going to learn how to be able to do more things on my own. It was frustrating at times, to have my mom stand there while I'm trying to learn how to put my wheelchair in and out of the back of the car. But it also gave me the confidence to be able to do it myself eventually. And, over time, it gave me the confidence to be like, hey, if I'm having a bad day with my leg, no big deal, because now I throw my chair in and out of my car all the time, and I drive myself places all the time in the mornings. I don't drive in the afternoons because of those pain meds, but I've learned to regain as much independence as possible. So tip number three is really to put an emphasis on that emotional and spiritual and mental well-being, because that is going to be so important to you as you learn to do things again on your own, as you learn to try and be happy with a situation that is less than ideal. No matter how you became an amputee, I bet that there was some things in that situation that are less than ideal. And there's parts of yourself that you're going to have to confront. All right, so part of this tip is really just to make sure that you're doing something every single day that helps to take care of and reset that mental well-being, because that's super important. All right, so tip number four for being that happy and successful amputee, which is what we all want in the amputee community, is for everybody that has an amputation to not let it weigh them down, but also to learn from it and build from it. So tip number four is going to be to learn how to manage that chronic pain. And I know for some amputees, this isn't really an issue and it's not going to apply to you. And if you're one of those people that it doesn't apply to, feel free to skip to the end of the video and you can skip this section. But for those of you with chronic pain, learning to manage it and live your life so that you can plan your life around that chronic pain and learning to deal with it in the everyday situations is going to be so important to free you from the woulda, coulda, shouldas, to free you from feeling like you're always in a flare. After experiencing CRPS, or complex regional pain syndrome, I've learned a thing or two about extreme chronic pain conditions. I've had to educate myself on why do we even like develop this in the first place. And conditions like this are complex. They are starting in the nervous system. And so, even though I amputated my leg to try and force CRPS into remission, that doesn't mean that my nervous system learned how to calm down automatically just by getting rid of my leg. In fact, that's quite the opposite of what happened. Unfortunately, CRPS can leave amputees with extreme phantom limb pain. And I am one of those amputees that has the extreme phantom limb pain, but still has a better quality of life. So the week before we took our trip, I planned, hey, I'm going to have to take it easy, and that's okay. So I did. I just tried to rest as much as possible that week before the trip. And even just like the few days before the trip, I tried to take it easy the best I could. Now, the Wednesday right before we left on Thursday was my anniversary. And so obviously, like, I wanted to celebrate that. And I did everything I could so that I could just wear my prosthetic just to dinner. Because honestly, that's like all I wanted. I'm like, I just want to be able to wear my prosthetic to be able to say that I did it. I made it to 4 years. Because it was really important to me to be able to say, hey, even though I've been through all this hard and crappy stuff, I'm still glad that I'm an amputee. For the last like 2 weeks following our trip, it's been almost 2 weeks now since that trip happened, and I have really been taking it easy. And so you may have noticed that I really only like published a video and got an email out, and that's about all I did. And you know what? Sometimes weeks are going to be like that. And I also said it's okay if I need to take it easy, because I know my body. I know that it's going to take me time to recover from a really awesome trip like that with my family. But guess what? While I was on that trip, I got to freaking enjoy it as much as possible. And that means everything to me. And guess what? While I was on that trip, I got to enjoy it. Actually enjoy it as much as humanly possible. And I did something on that trip that surprised even myself, that became a major win and a beacon of hope for not just me as an amputee, but a beacon of hope for you, I hope, as well. So my prosthetic guy told me to take my leg with me on our trip to this national park. And I listened. And I was so incredibly glad that I took it with me, because there was these beautiful trails that were just short, little, perfect trails just for me. And I got to go and see this amazing overlook where you just look down and you're like, wow, this is incredible. And, just to take in the appreciation of nature like that. And, that hike up to that overlook, it was really challenging. And I even tripped once, but I didn't give up. And I took my leg up there in a moment of triumph. And in a moment to say, I can do things that are tough, that are difficult, because at one point in my life, yeah, I went through a lot of depression, and I do spend a lot of my time in my wheelchair, but being able to do something like that and have that big win was enough for me to say, okay, if I need to rest after that, that's okay. I have this big win. It's okay to take it easy, and I haven't really worn my prosthetic a whole lot since then, because I've been in a lot of pain, and we've had some rough weather that has also affected my pain. But guess what? I did something really cool, and I'm proud of that. So let yourself be proud of those moments when you do get to do something awesome. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, and I hope you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And in the next video, I'll be talking about what is coming up in One Foot Phoenix projects, and hopefully get you guys excited for that. And if you would like to see that video, you can click right over here, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!